That's why I need to show
Call the
them.
meeting to order. Roll call.
Commissioner Barton,
Present.
Commissioner Funes, Commissioner Kroll,
Present.
Attorney Romano,
Present.
and Lieutenant Haber.
Okay. Present. Okay, no minutes. No minutes, so we'll move right along. Okay, we have a one-day license for Arts After Hours, a fundraiser at the Lynn Museum for January 18th from 7 to 10. We have another one-day license for galleries at the Lynn Arts, an art gallery fundraiser, opening reception for an art exhibit, February 1st from 5:30 to 7:30. And then another one-day license for galleries at Lynn Arts, a private event, Paint by the Ocean, for February 2nd from 6 to 11 p.m. What is your pleasure on that one day?
I have no problem. Commissioner Funes, do you see anything out of the ordinary? Okay, I'll move to approve all one-day licenses and waive the fees for nonprofits.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and then we have a alcohol license request.
Hannafy, Common Vic.
Oh, I have the alcohol
It just-
first.
yeah.
Okay. 30? Okay, we'll do the common vic first. Hannafy Restaurant, someone here? Heidi, come on in. How you doing? Good. 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 Okay, you're gonna be open Monday through Sunday, 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day?
Yep.
Wow, pretty good. And what will you be serving?
Spanish food and order food by order.
Okay, we're gonna have no alcohol, entertainment, yes, radio, okay, TV.
49.
49.
Not including the produce.
Yeah.
What was that? Not including the produce.
Including
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 Yeah.
All right,
Good
and are
question.
you
I
open
didn't
now?
see that, yeah.
Not yet.
No.
Not yet.
Okay. When do you plan on opening?
Like 25. Around like 25th.
January?
Yeah.
Yeah.
January.
Okay. And you're Wanda?
Yes.
And you are?
The consultant.
Okay.
Just consultant.
Okay. Just consultant, okay. All right, anybody else have any
Yeah,
questions?
no, everything looked fine. Miguel answered the one question that I had. I
Okay.
don't see anything out of the ordinary. You wanna, yeah,
I'll entertain a motion then.
okay, I'll move to approve the common vic.
All in favor?
Aye. Good luck.
Good luck.
Congratulations.
Yep.
Thank you.
Pick it up Thursday.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, now we'll do the alcohol license. Maruti SK Inc. Hmm? No, it's a new one. Okay, transfer of the license, but it's a new
Yes.
license, right?
It's a new location.
New location, okay.
This license was at the Shop Book.
Okay,
It's the beer and wine that was at Shop Book. Shop Book is now a package store.
Mhm.
So we were intending to transfer this license to this location on Summer Street. Mr. Patel, of which there are many Patels,
Yep.
is not present yet.
Yeah.
And we were on the building, according to this Mr. Patel.
Mhm.
But it's a convenience store that's been there for some period of years. It's in a business area. And in fact, I have represented a similar establishment across the street in McDonough Square in the past, but they gave up their license and they just are a straight convenience store. And what we were trying to do is find a home for the beer and wine, and that's what we have before you. So.
okay. Anybody have any questions?
No, it was fine. Everything was fine. Attorney Lamana said that we didn't have to worry about going back to the
Special permit
council
or
for a
anything,
special
right?
permit with
Okay,
that.
yeah, that was a question.
Oh, yeah,
That's a
yeah.
question, and
Yeah.
that may account for the...
No, Sam, everything's fine, just
Yeah.
fine.
No, I'm just saying, I want to take the responsibility, I don't want to blame Mr. Patel, because I talked with him, I would admit, I may have raised my voice with him.
Oh, it's not like you.
About what I didn't know and what I did know, and I think I may have discouraged them.
No.
But, as you know, if you're familiar with that area, McDonough Square, at least the way I remember it, there's certainly a public need, and in the past, there had been, and I know some of the neighbors there on Orchard Street and other places, the Kellys and others, there had been a problem when it was a chain. I think it might have been a Tedeschi's or, we've had this conversation, where
Right.
they're not really owned by people who
Yeah.
are invested into that particular location.
Well, I shouldn't worry about that. Everything's
No.
fine. So
Everything's
I
fine.
will
So-
move to approve the transfer of the Delicious Beer and Wine license.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Good. Yep. Okay. Okay, and then we have a hearing for, for Rancho Grande. Someone here from Rancho Grande. Okay. Okay, hi. Can you explain why you didn't show up for a conference? We're just trying to keep it simple.
Yeah, last month I was at the state, so I missed it. As soon as I got here, I got to Debbie.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
and I didn't know the notice, and the employee didn't. They just grabbed the bills and put it in the bag.
Okay, all right, so,
So,
and we'll go back to making this a
Conference.
conference, and we're here for educational purposes as well as disciplinary when it's warranted. In this case, we felt it would be wise to bring you in and just have a conversation with you about your responsibilities as the owner, manager, or the server.
Yeah,
But it appears that you could have been over-serving your customers, and perhaps this incident wouldn't have happened.
yeah, I am.
And that's something you really have to be aware of. And make sure that your staff is aware of that. Okay. Anybody else have any?
may I-
Yes, please, yep.
Did you know the people, were they intoxicated when they came to the system?
No, I mean, they were there early in the evening. They go home there regular, then they come back 30 minutes later, they start talking aggressive. So that's why security is calling them out, and they didn't like it. They want to come back in.
Yeah.
They want to come back in, and they say, I talk to them, right, and say, if you don't let me in, I'm going to call the cops. I say, don't do it because we're going to take you in. And they didn't listen.
If I may speak to the, my name's Evan Biden, Director of Security for Rancho Grande, which includes recruitment, training, supervision of the staff, and scheduling and so forth. Two of my guys were working that evening. The two gentlemen were sitting at a table there and were only in the establishment for 30 minutes before they were asked to leave. They were asked to leave due to their behavior, not intoxication at that time. And they were knocking over bottles. They had touched a waitress inappropriately, at which time I think Mr. Arena is mentioned in the report, as well as Mr. Vice, who were working security at that time, escorted them out. And once they were outside, they became very aggressive and again tried to enter. Rather than, in that situation, they're already outside, we close the door and give them an opportunity to leave, instruct them to leave. We follow a diplomat-first approach at all times. I am a crisis prevention instructor for many years. This is my 27th year in nightlife security. And all the men are trained in crisis prevention. We have a 100% record of not causing an injury either to patrons or staff, as well as most situations we can verbally de-escalate. Once they were not allowed to re-enter, and the staff didn't come out to have an altercation, which the patrons wanted to have happen, they had left for a period of 25 to 30 minutes, and then returned, demanding to re-enter the establishment. And then once, they had called the local authorities, the law enforcement. to report the problem and so forth. Once law enforcement arrived, Lynn PD, they took this, the patrons took the same approach with them, which, obviously led to their arrest and detaining. So that's pretty much how it went.
Okay.
My guys did not feel they were heavily intoxicated when they left. They did appear to be more intoxicated when they returned after the original departed from the venue.
I guess the only question I have is the report said that it was a 911 hang-up. Anytime anything happens like that, and the good lieutenant will reiterate that call the police first, call the police first. If they're overserved, they're intoxicated, they're groping women, call the
Yeah, you
police.
should've called.
Good God,
Well, at the time,
That's the bottom line. You
Yeah.
should have called the police.
Okay,
It shouldn't have been up to them to do it.
Yeah.
Okay? That is your responsibility.
We will in the future. At the time, it appeared that they had left.
And that was it, sure.
Right, and that
then
was
they came
it,
back.
and then it
Yep.
reignited when they returned, so.
As soon as they returned, you should have called the police.
Yes, and we have in other
Yep.
situations that are similar that have happened since then.
Okay. So we're all on the same page. That's what we're looking for here.
Thank you.
You have anything to add, Lieutenant?
Well, I would just like to underline what you said. The most important thing is to call the police. I respect the fact that your staff is trained, but the first thing is to call the police. And I would only object that the officers that handled the call, they had to put these people in protective custody, they weren't arrested. But they do know, specifically in the report, not your opinion, but it's their opinion written right after this incident. Both of these individuals were heavily intoxicated. To me, that is absolute facts, okay? That's proven otherwise, and we're not here to, that's what it was, okay? So suggestive, maybe they left for a little while, maybe they came more intoxicated. Just for future, just as Chairperson said, call the police, don't get too involved in it, but I would suggest that they were overserved. If the behavior of knocking over bottles and perhaps inappropriately assaulting someone, recognize that your staff can be victimized. If that was an assault, maybe a staff member could have or should have been able to file a report if necessary. Just keep that in mind. Since you have that level of training provided to you, to the business, and think on those lines, I wouldn't come up in front of the board and just try to dispute everything. So that's just my personal opinion. No question about it. There's another report that you're aware of, I'm sure, being involved with security there. It's coming before the board for next month. So it's the cumulative effect of these problems. Okay? Not saying that you have a great accumulation. The more events, situations that come before the board, they'll get greater scrutiny. So we're here to get you to assure us that you're on top of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to say too, every officer from the PD has been extremely helpful, and we really appreciate their assistance in this situation.
But that's the kind of service we provide.
Yeah.
The officers are professional.
Yeah.
Well trained.
Yeah.
Thank you for your call.
I do have a question. These two individuals, they came back to
No, I haven't seen it.
maybe
Yeah.
You all set? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then motion?
What are we doing?
Just
Just
accept
accept for the
this for the
records? Move to accept for the... Mayor.
Yeah. Oh, there you
Aye.
Aye, okay. Okay.
I don't know how this works, sorry. Was this the Linway Lounge?
No,
Oh, no.
No,
they're,
no.
Okay, I'm just confused. I didn't hear a name.
Oh,
Thank you for the,
Rancho Grande it was. Okay. Okay. Okay, all right. Now, we are going to the Congo Lounge. Okay. So. Okay, first, you're here regarding this police report about unlawful improper storage of a firearm, letter of complaint from a constituent, and a letter of management and control. Those are the three issues that you're here for tonight. First, let's deal with this police report about the unlawful and improper storage of a firearm. You wanna-
Yeah, I can give a quick summary of the police report. The condo lounge, I assume that the people there, Fausto, I'm familiar with Fausto from some of the other clubs that he's managed. He works there as a manager. I understand they called the police because someone was there. They were left the building, they were trying to get back in, they thought it was a cell phone. So Mike talking to the manager, Fausto, and looking at the police report, the staff checked for the phone, couldn't find the phone, and this person ultimately either left and came back, or produced what they believed was a firearm in his waistband. I don't think from my understanding, the report doesn't think anyone was assaulted.
No.
This was not a staff member. This was somebody that had been there and left, thought there was a phone, there wasn't a phone, then they returned. Staff called, they went inside, and they secured as far as, when the officers got there, they didn't find anybody with a weapon. Essentially, those are the facts, and according to the police report, in my talking to the manager, I inquired about video to see if we could identify the person and maybe find out if this person's going around to the clubs with a weapon. We don't want that. I was informed there wasn't any video, there was system, but it wasn't recording, or they didn't have any video. So I asked them to communicate with the owner and make sure that, in the future, you'd have video for your own protection and ours.
Yeah, we said that. I'll talk to you.
Yeah, it's fixed now. We just had problems with the wiring.
Okay.
And this incident, I think, was in November.
Yeah, November 26th.
And I think the letter from you all came in December 31. But the police report, we have no questions of the police report. I think you're right, though, your characterization that he was there, left, and he returned. It's the return.
Well, all of it's troubling, but not much the staff could have done.
No, but I'm saying he did come back, and that's when they decided they had to call, because he came back and showed a weapon. But I think that, I said to Fausto, I thought that what he did was proper, okay, in terms of calling. But I had the same kind of question as to whether, was the individual inside and then left and they tried to re-enter and showed the gun? No, he had left, and then he came back and tried to re-enter then and showed it. And that's when this occurred. And it was he never regained entry into the club. And I'm not certain we even know if he was there, but he was certainly outside there trying to get back in. He claimed he had lost the cell phone. They made a search. They made him wait outside. They made a search. They couldn't find the phone. They told him that. He wasn't too happy about that.
Right.
That's when he returned. And maybe he went and got there. I have no idea about that. But I caution in terms of people showing weapons. That's when we definitely need the police.
Okay, all right.
The
So
second,
that was handled correctly then.
The second one, I familiarized myself with the location. I got the address from the letter. I went and you're probably more familiar than I am, but it's essentially across the street. This is the club location. This is the building in which a person sent the letter, so they were across the street. I've talked with them about the usual posting of signs that say be responsible for leave when the club closes, bring lights up, shut the sound down, ask people not to congregate. I asked Fausto to circulate as a security person outside. Then I went one step beyond that. I just happened to have been here when, I think Attorney Miles, the city's adopted a new sound ordinance, okay? The problem is, in my judgment, is that the police are charged with enforcing the sound ordinance. But the sound ordinance, at least in the city of Lynn, makes it difficult in some ways because I've been in cities and towns, and in fact, I talked to Councilor Chakutis, who worked with us and worked with another establishment when there was a sound complaint. I called her specifically to ask whether there had been any complaints that she was aware of. She asked me to verify that this was in Ward 5. I did. She said no one had contacted her. I said I might need your help again. And I recalled the wine bar that had been on Central Ave and how she had worked with people who lived in the building. So I made her aware. And I said to her, gee, I got the new sound ordinance, but I don't know. And I looked at it, and there is a provision that says in here that yelling. And if you read it, the problem, in my judgment, at least as a lawyer, it says yelling, shouting, whistling, singing on the streets. Those are somewhat subjective. Some cities and towns have, you go to Radio Shack, you buy a decibel meter, and you put that in, and it says if it's above this level of sound noise or whatever, then it's a prima facie violation, okay? And I know there are sounds only dogs can hear, okay, or whatever. But in Lynn, it uses words to describe different, like loud exhausts. But at the end of the day, it's somewhat subjective. But I really do think that, and I talked with the club about this, my sense is this, that on a Saturday night or a Sunday night, and I think it varies depending on whether they have entertainment or not, I think that what we ought to do, and I've asked them to do, and what they agreed to do, is to hire a detail. And if there's police available, back out from closing time, maybe 4 hours. So if you only have one security person and he's inside and he's outside, that he's got a limited amount of authority to tell people to move off the streets, where the police don't have that problem. That you have a uniform officer or a detail officer and he tells people to pack up and go home. Unless they're foolish, they go home. And so I've asked them if they would be willing to, and I would make a suggestion that we would start to, put the calls in to get detail officers and vary it. We'll do one on a Sunday night, one on a Saturday night, and try to address it. I asked Bernice to reach out to the individual who I think provided her phone number and their address, so we could speak with her. Okay, all right. But as far as I know, I don't know of other complaints. I do know this is what they are stuck with enforcing, and it seems to me that somebody who's on the spot with eyes and ears can make a judgment if the music's too loud or people are acting out, where it's hard or if somebody comes along after the fact and has got a complaint, because by then you can turn the sound down, the people could be gone. It's a different situation. So I would think that we don't want this to develop like that situation in the past. That's why I called Councilor Chakoudas. I want to go back and report to her that we represented to you and that we would begin to hire details on Saturday nights or Sunday night and vary it, because then you sort of discipline people as to, hey, we mean business when we say leave and go to your car and don't disturb people around us. I just don't think that anybody other than an officer can enforce that with some degree of certainty. And also, I think the word sort of goes out. After a while, people say, hey, this is what they're doing.
Yeah, because the complaint was very explicit. I mean, the screaming, fighting, cars honking, and
I mean, it's like if you read this description in the ordinance.
I mean, I can hear it, I can see it, I can feel it, you know?
I can speak before.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really have a comment, but I'd like to talk.
Okay, use your gavel. Use your gavel.
Okay. Excuse me. Okay, Lieutenant, take over.
I'd like to make sure that the complainant gets enough time to be heard, but I'd also like to respond to the council's comments in some of the comments that he made with respect to the noise ordinance. I've been engaged in district court to the extent of a full trial on that noise ordinance that you have there. I agree that it is subjective. It's also based on reasonableness. And so if the officers make a judgment that something is unreasonable, the noise is unreasonable given the time, given the crowdedness of the residents, given all sorts of factors, that noise ordinance is subjective, okay? We're not going to carry meters, measure sound. But it's certainly enforceable, and I believe that having the owners here saying, well, we don't want to disturb them, we want to have our business, I think that's great. But I would also point out the fact that the police department, the resources are very thin. We'll respond to all the calls as certainly as the best we can, but I can guarantee you, even if you request, it's almost unlikely that you're going to get an officer every Saturday and Sunday night. We have barely enough officers to really respond to the need on the street, and that's a whole different topic. But even having an officer or requesting one doesn't just absorb you of the responsibility I agree there's a benefit, Sam. If they see an officer there, they might be more apt to go ahead and maybe you have less problems, but it's not a panacea. I mean, it's not going to solve everything, and I'll tell you that it's going to be difficult to get somebody given the staffing levels that we have. But that noise ordinance is workable. It is based on subject, reasonableness. I mean, it is subject.
See, I think having a police officer there, it's like,
But that's not going to happen, that's what I'm saying. They're there,
We're gonna try.
they're there if the complainant calls and we come down and you know, we've had clubs before, people in the street that won't go home, they're beeping their horns, every time the door opens, you can hear. Now, I'm not saying that's happening every night at our club, but we know there are situations, and we certainly can bring those complaints before the board, and they can be properly heard. Okay, you guys can make judgment on those. The observations of the officers.
Right.
So, I mean, I think it's a workable ordinance.
oh, I'm not disputing, I'm just saying that we want to get ahead of this one and try to contain it with, and so we don't fault the resident. It's just controlling the patrons.
No, exactly.
And the patrons are outside, and they, you know, this is the other kind of educational thing that we've talked about, is you don't send everybody out at the same time. So you follow me? If somebody's got a glass on the bar, or on the table, okay, you can, those people who have completed their drink, those should be the first wave to go, okay? And then you sort of phase people out, because when you send them all out at the same time, at the same moment, that's not a good formula. And then I'm concerned about the people who are doing the door or doing whatever, that they could get overwhelmed. And that's why we would like to, if we can't get details, then we'll just add people from our own
They
staff.
try.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. You can try.
We have 5 guys for the whole thing, right? What we do now, what I implement myself as, I keep it only one. We turn the lights out, we shut the music out. Everybody started leaving. What he said, yeah, they do it like a pack. A bunch of people in the same time. Because that people, they're not gonna get them out more. They're gonna leave, and as soon as they leave, there's only like a couple of people, I say, 4, 5, no more than 5 people inside. I myself and 3 or more than my security guys will step outside. Whatever they make a noise there, they've been shut down. And then I tell them, because most of them have been doing this in Lynn for 19 years. A lot of them know me, and they don't know I don't play. When I tell you something, okay, you can probably, I cannot shut the music off, but I'm not allowed you coming back inside anymore.
Right.
So make your choice.
Okay.
So that's what I teach them to do. Now, as soon as they saw me coming outside, everybody get on the car
And go.
and go. Because I don't play with rules.
Okay.
You know, I ain't playing my own rules, I like follow my rules. My rule is defend the property and keep it our lives going on. And keep it my job, because I my kids.
I just like to add a little bit. Sometimes I do go around and checking, let alone 20 years, sometimes I don't even know. I have spoken with the security guard. And one of the things that I like to ask them is the capacity that they have to actually crowd when they're going to go around on the police. And I believe several times, and the way that he spoke to me, he's been in Boston also.
Yes.
Security guard, and he's been doing this for a while. So, in a way, I give credit to from the hiring people responsible for and the background that is there to cover. Nevertheless, controlling the crowd is always makes the crowd, and like we said, in reality, be in favor or against either one of you, but to a point to be responsible.
Vote.
Melinda's here.
Yep. Vote? Right.
Well, I was here hoping that maybe they could get police detail, because I had asked the police station, and they said that it would be up to them to hire that.
Right.
But then I heard you say that you would chances are low.
Contractually, they don't have to work details. They can accept them or deny them, so there's nothing you can do about that.
My problem is I live across the street, and I don't care about Friday, Saturday night, but Sundays, I have to wake up at 5:30, 6 o'clock. So to be woken up at 1 o'clock, basically every Sunday night, and the noise is just out of control until I call the police, and I pretty much call them every weekend, because I know if I don't call, they're gonna keep me up for like an hour. So, just Sunday nights, something has to be done.
So what I can do is I can try to bring on extra security, and at 12:30, I can start sending him out there, and he can start, as the people get in, he can start trying to monitor them and get them out of it.
Because I mean, I see your security guys out there, but they're not really doing much. They're just kind of standing there.
Okay, I'm not outside with them, so I'm gonna take your word for it.
Yeah, until like, they know the police are coming or something like that.
Okay, I'm gonna say something to you about it. There's so much you can do outside in the street.
I understand.
No, let me finish.
Okay.
There's so much you can do. There's so much you can do that the security guys. I worked with them many years, and my communication with them is 120%. Right? I live in one of the police officers' house. It's my own home. Right? But when you have to remember one thing, my job, okay, head of security, is control the crowd.
Right.
All right? And most of the people drinking, people have some fun, people try to blast the music outside. That's what I expect for. But some people, they're outside in the street.
Yes.
And when you approach to them, there's so much you can do in so much way that you can handle. Remember, I'm sober, you drunk, probably, or you got alcohol.
Right.
See, I approach to you, probably you think it the wrong way, and then you start picking fight with me.
Right.
And then it's gonna be a situation. You're gonna go out of control.
I completely-
Let me finish,
okay.
then you talk. And for most of the people on the parking, they leave it at the right time, because that's what I point in my hand, and I send it to the guys. They gotta go, they gotta go, they gotta go. I be myself and shut the music off because I know them for many years. And they don't do that to me. Somebody else do it, but always an issue.
Right.
So when I think we're out of control, I call the police. The resource in the city, they do it. Like he said, get one detail officer right now, they sure, they have to pay a lot of money for extra cop, do it in overtime. Right? So we try the best that we can. But remember, out of 100, you're not gonna get 100, because it's people in the limit, probably fighting.
Okay, excuse me,
I
sir,
said-
the gentleman with the earring. This
Oh,
isn't he
yeah.
said, she said.
Yeah.
I believe she has video that she wants to
Yeah.
show us.
Yes. This is just because, like I said, I don't normally complain, but this is every Sunday night at 1 o'clock in the morning, and this is my bedroom window.
I think you can hear her frustration. I
No,
think
and
the
I
main
understand-
concern
and I
is like
understand her
Sunday night, treating Sunday night like it's a Friday,
I'm sure
Saturday
it's
night.
the case, it happens.
Yeah.
That's all. You're trying to prevent it.
Yeah.
Right, and I understand her case, and I
Right.
feel for her, I really
Right,
do.
yeah.
That's why I'm here. Tell me what can I do to make it better, or what can I do to
One
make it?
of the things I said is my experience is that in certain establishments, Sunday nights is a bigger night, or
Yeah.
a busy night,
Yeah,
okay? And so knowing that, you should staff accordingly on a Sunday night, because you know the volume of your business and when
Right.
people come about. You just reinforced that it's Sunday night. That's-
it's, yeah, and I
So
think
that
you have
makes
to
it a
realize
little bit easier to get an officer.
you are in a
One-
neighborhood. You're in a neighborhood, there's kids around, there's, you know, so you might want to curtail your entertainment on Sunday nights, really. You might want to curtail it on Sunday nights. Seriously, something you really should think about, because
And
these complaints
ultimately,
keep coming.
it's their license.
Right.
So.
I don't know what they can do if they can't hire a detail.
I mean, like I said, I can have one of, we can talk to one of the security guards, and we can make them be more, okay, this is what you have to do, we need to be able to get everyone out, try to keep it, I'll put the signs up.
And I told them about
suggested.
closing, shutting down the lights.
Yep.
bringing up the lights,
Yep.
shutting down the sound, doing things
Which is-
earlier.
which is-
Earlier,
Try to get people out
exactly,
sooner.
exactly.
And then,
That's-
I'm willing to try. I'm
Okay.
willing to try.
That's an adjustment that they can make
Yeah.
internally.
Maybe an announcement too, when you're closing the club to your patrons, that you could be courteous.
And maybe tell them
And you know,
exactly.
and if they
No,
want to come
absolutely.
back,
Yeah.
you know, they want to come
Yeah.
back, also, you all know these people.
Yeah,
absolutely,
They're your regular
absolutely.
customers. If they respect you and you know that you're real concerned about it.
Right.
If we have neighbors across
No,
the
I
street,
know.
I know you do.
I 100% agree with you.
But this is a problem.
Yeah.
And it does happen. So if you all could work it out, and I encourage you to try to get a detail officer, but they're gonna drive away with their music and all the detail officers there sometimes too. So it's not a fix
Right, no, I
automatic.
understand.
But I certainly encourage you to try and work it out, because one complaint, we don't want to turn into two.
No, absolutely.
Right.
You know, it's not fair for her. I mean, she works in the morning.
No,
You know, when she wakes up, she wakes up, and I totally get it. I'm not here to name names, or I'm not here to point fingers, or not. I'm just, we have a problem, and between all of us, I think we're adults and smart enough to come up with a solution.
okay, I agree.
I'm gonna try this one more time. Oh, here it is. My Wi-Fi was off. This is my bedroom window closed. I'm gonna open it.
Oh, you're gonna kind of hold it up towards us if you could?
John, looking in a bedroom window? What are you
Yeah,
doing?
I'm trying to open it.
I mean, I can hear it. I don't need to see it, I can hear it.
Yeah.
And this goes on
It's
for
a
45
it's a boisterous crowd.
Yeah,
every Sunday.
yeah.
And then they stop blowing the horns, they go in my driveway,
Yeah.
they're fighting,
Yeah.
they're screaming. And I'm a heavy sleeper,
Yeah,
like dead. I just had to download some weird alarm to wake me up. Like, this is just right out my window every Sunday. I don't care about Saturdays, Fridays,
right.
just Sundays.
Right.
I agree. You're not being
We can
unreasonable.
also try to get a parking attendant, maybe help him direct the traffic better. Because the beeping of the horns are usually is because,
No, it's because they're parked in the middle of the street and
So
traffic
one's
can't
trying
get
to get-
by.
one's trying to
They
get out at the
just
same
jump
time.
out of
Yep.
their cars
Yep.
in the middle of the street.
so I can try to get maybe a parking detail so he can be able to, parking,
If you look,
So we
your
can-
security guy isn't really doing much.
yeah, that's what I meant. That's what I meant.
So one of the things I just suggested is that
Security
maybe we
guy
try
isn't doing it.
valet parking, where our guys are in control of moving the cars up.
Fancy valet
I
parking.
mean, well, there's just other alternatives.
Sure, right?
Because people are parking on the street, but you know the area. On a Saturday night, for example, there's a lot right behind 156 Broad.
My fairness,
There's a lot down Farrar Street. I mean, if you know the territory.
Yeah.
And then if people have to get their car and then you bring it up and it's running, so I suggested that to them.
Well, a lot of good ideas, so hope it works out.
Do you have the email from the health department?
Yes, I do.
Is that on the agenda to read?
Yes, it is, under lack of management and control.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, there was a letter, we got the letter.
Oh,
Is that the question?
yep.
Not her letter.
No. We saw the letter.
Okay.
That's how I went and got the map.
Okay.
And that's why I called Council Chakoudas.
Okay, so now I have another issue regarding your establishment from the inspectional services.
okay.
You don't have a food permit.
I just talked to Lisa.
Yes.
It was my understanding that Julio did it. Julio thought that I did it, and he had a death in the family, so he left. But I talked to her today, and I sent her the letter of that place in Beverly. Dish drain, dash drain.
Training to get the certification?
No, it's
No.
for the for the grease trap.
Grease hauling
Yeah, for
contract.
the grease trap. So I talked to them, they sent me a letter. Lisa wanted us to put add our address to it. And so he left today, and he'll get it to me first thing tomorrow morning.
Okay, first thing tomorrow
Yep.
morning. Okay, fine. If we do not receive word from Lisa that she has everything she needs
Okay.
by Friday of this
I'll
week,
find-
by Friday of this week,
Okay,
if we do not have her assurance that you have your food permit, we are shutting you down until you
Agreed.
get the food permit. So you have until Friday
Promise.
of this week,
yes.
all right? So Deb?
I want to know who that is.
Okay.
Who's Danny?
I don't know who's Danny.
Where's Danny?
Requested a 2 a.m. closing to serve
For
food.
food?
I don't know who's
Oh, that probably.
Danny?
they-
Oh,
they
no.
wanna take over the-
So we have
He
a
said he's the
question.
owner.
So we have a question about the restaurant. And I left a message with you, but you were gone for the weekend. You were gone, I think you left on Thursday, I called.
Oh, hear me loudly and clearly. Don't even waste your breath asking to stay open to 2 o'clock. No,
That wasn't my question.
Okay.
My question was,
It's very.
because it's right here in black and
no,
white
I
that
don't,
it's
I
going
don't
to be
even know
the
where
request.
that, I don't even know where that letter came from.
Smiley face, I like that.
I got a message that
At the restaurant or the?
Danny
I don't
called.
care. The building is closed at 1
No,
o'clock.
exactly.
That's it.
That's 2 o'clock would
That's
have been
it.
like crazy.
Absolutely.
My question was, I think he's the chef that's gonna be in the restaurant.
All right, he called,
There's no
left
way.
a message for
No
me
way.
that he's the owner, and he would like to stay open until 2 a.m. for food service only.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, that's
I
not gonna
called him
happen.
back and explained to him, absolutely not.
No, of course.
You should tell him to have an open house at his house and he can
Right.
take everybody.
I'll send the food over there. My question was, the original question why I called Deb was to ask her, can I have the restaurant open till 11, or is it, I have to close the restaurant till 10?
What's up?
The restaurant, Lynn has an ordinance that says you can be open from 5 to midnight, but if you do anything else, it's called a 24-hour license, you have to get approval with city council.
Okay.
Extension of hours.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, we only wanted to do, we wasn't sure if our cutoff time was 10 or the cutoff time was 11. That was what my question was to get.
11's fine.
11
wants to go a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Like I said, have
He'll be
him
there
have an
all
open
by
house.
himself. He'll be there all by himself.
Okay, so again, you have till Friday.
Yes, yes.
Okay?
Promise.
Otherwise, you will,
Yes.
Now, what are we going to
We'll
do about
forget.
Melinda? Do we want to hear back on how it's going?
yeah, that would be, I'm sure we'll hear from her
Well,
again.
Yeah, I
Do
was
you-
gonna say, why don't
Do
we,
you mind if I give her my cell phone number?
well, that's between you two.
That's between you two.
Okay.
Yeah, that's, yeah. Yeah. So hopefully,
I'm gonna try to enforce it even harder.
yeah,
Sometimes people parking right in the window. Our place is right here, he's on the street. Our closest
Should I ask her to get back to us before the next meeting? Melinda, can you get back to me before our next meeting in February?
Which will be the third Tuesday in February. Is our meeting, get back to us before that.
Okay, and just let me know how it's going,
right,
Yeah,
okay?
okay,
You have the number to reach me, right?
I believe so, yes.
all right,
You're in the city hall list.
Yes.
okay. All right, everybody else satisfied?
Mayor?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
So, okay, then we have police reports?
The last two reports.
Okay.
So this first report to the meeting is from Trios and Backlot. Ultimately, it was a call for a possible fight that involved somebody with a gun. A couple cars had words in the back lot, they had been in the restaurant. But one person thought somebody else had a weapon. There was really no evidence of that, and there was no assault. And the officers got their proof that the person didn't have a weapon, they checked everybody. So I think somebody called because they thought there was going to be a confrontation, got a little nervous.
Okay, yeah,
Okay, so there was unfounded,
okay,
ultimately.
all right.
So, and it was out back, and she would have, probably not had
You had
staff
to-
out there or
okay.
anything.
Yeah,
There's no indication of high intoxication or anything like that. The other one is,
put that for the files.
okay, yep.
Yep.
And the other one is, which was,
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Yep,
This one's similar to that. A person inside reported that a patron inside reported that another patron produced a firearm and threatened him or told him to buy me a drink or something like that. The officers got there, they looked at video, they didn't see any evidence of this thing. the person that he described was still there. The officers checked that he didn't have any weapons at all or anything. I think that's the gist of it. A lot of the same back and forth, but the officers came to the conclusion that it was generally unfounded. Yeah, but they came to that conclusion.
Okay. So file?
Yep, section files.
The reporting party wasn't intoxicated, so they said, and the other parties in there. There was nothing on video, and no one good.
Okay. All right.
Okay, the new business, well, we're gonna
Wait, we're gonna table that for the February meeting? Yep.
for discussion,
Yep.
February fees.
Mhm. And acceptance of rules and regulations. Good enough?
I know, I don't need to stab me in the neck.
Motion to adjourn.